Never stop running. The beast always pursues. Humans were designed to be endurance predators, but this thing does not yield. It's ironic, really. Back on Earth, I was never much of an athlete. At this point, I've lost track of time. Maybe 15, 20, might as well be 50 years. My entire day is spent running, hiding, setting traps, anything to keep a distance from that monster. It is relentless. I learned long ago that as long as I keep moving while there is light out, it can't reach me. Years ago, a teleporter accident marooned me here on this alien world. The learning curve was vertical, but my determination helped me climb it. Trial and error taught me how to set up a camp, what fruits to eat, where to find water. The environment was like nothing from Earth, with vibrant, exotic flora that sprouted different types of sustenance. The abandoned towns and the vast fields, however, were eerily quiet. No people, no animals, no bugs, nothing. After years of solitude, the beast suddenly appeared one day. Its first sight imprinted on my mind, an obsidian lizard as large as an elephant, with deadly fangs ready to pierce my body. I'm certain it sees me as its prey. Despite fleeing from its territory, it pursues me relentlessly. Every day begins before dawn. The last time I overslept, I woke to the creature's snarling maw. I have thought about that moment for 10,000 hours at this point. There's a lot of time to think while you're running alone. It's funny. I used to do this as a hobby back home, going to the track, getting in a few laps. I could never get into a routine and always regretted it. I guess you could say I'm really into running now. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and I keep going. There's always a new terrain to conquer, a new landscape to explore. I once hoped that the crew would find me. Eventually, I thought they would send a landing party to rescue me. Those hopes dried up around year 5. Now the only goal is running. There's no time to think about this. I tighten the laces on my shoes and take off as the sun comes over the horizon. I'm lucky to have found these shoes. Not so lucky for the guy who was wearing them before me. Not my size, but they've lasted better than running barefoot. Small mercies. Check over my shoulder again, every 15 minutes. Check over my shoulder to make sure the beast hasn't caught up. Hills are the worst terrain. Running up one, down the next, then back up. Over and over for miles and miles. The sky was beginning to dim, and I decided to set up camp on the top of a hill, so I used the vantage to see all around me. It was just then, as I started to take off my bag, I saw it. At the furthest point I could see with my eyes, it was there. I stared at the dot on that furthest hill and started to do the math. My calculations said maybe a little more than a half day away. In the early days, my initial thoughts were to wait this monster out and hide, allowing it to pass. That never worked. It hunts me with such precision, tracking me, sniffing me out, even once tricking me into revealing my position. It is methodical and intelligent. Sometimes I think it is psychologically traumatizing me on purpose, just for fun, like a cat playing with a bug. I decide to skip camping. I look in my bag and find the last of my scavenged berries. I pop them in my mouth, swallowing them quickly to avoid the sourness. It's good calories, though. I begin to run again. A half day is not enough insurance for me to sleep and let it get that much closer. I keep running. My eyelids are getting heavier, and it is getting harder to move my muscles. I've been running for almost 14 hours at this point. I can't move much further. I collapse. When I wake up, it is still daytime outside, but I can tell time has passed. I take a quick glance at the sun's position. It is now late in the day. I realize that a lot of time has passed. I try to get myself up on my feet, and my ankle gives out on me. I cannot stand up, and the beast may be on me at any moment. I crawl over to the side of the path and attempt to use a boulder to bring me to my feet. Rising to my feet, I feel incredible pain shoot up my leg from my ankle. I fall again, hitting my head on the boulder. I wipe the blood streaming from my forehead and decide to just roll over into the ditch and hide for a few minutes until I figure out what to do here. I can't walk. I had been injured before. 3 sprains, constant muscle spasms, and even my knee has dislocated once or twice. It has never been this bad. This is, by far, the worst injury yet. I manage to slowly take my shoe off and examine the injury. My entire ankle is black and purple, definitely broken. I decide to hide, covering myself with wet leaves and mud. I hope it's enough to disguise my scent. If I can create a splint, maybe I can hobble away. but the injury is too severe and my consciousness wanes. I glance down at my foot, looking worse now than when I checked 5 minutes ago. No, I'm done. I weakly cover myself with more mud as my vision goes black again. It's nighttime now. As I regain my senses, I realize that my ankle is throbbing with pain. I can feel knife stabs going up my leg with every heartbeat. I pull the wet leaves from my feet and see black veins running up and down my leg. My leg seizes up and I wince, letting out a very small gasp. The moment of the gasp, I hear a rustling from the leaves a few steps away. I turn my head and see the beast, dark ichor dripping from its mouth like hot tar. As the creature's jaws clamp down on me, I am not scared anymore. I feel a sense of relief. I can stop running. No more sleeping on rocks, no more tart berries. Finally free. My vision fades to black. I feel pulled to bright, blinding light, and suddenly, I'm back at home. I'm sitting comfortably in a lounge chair, and there is no pain in my body for the first time in decades. I look down to see a young child, around 8 or 9. I don't recognize him at first, but the memories are flooding back in a torrent. The screen flashes, and the child runs it, checking the printout. "Oh, wow, Dad! You got 56 years! Good score!" He waits for my response. "Well, what do you think about the game?" Game? I struggle to process what's happening. My memories return in a tidal wave. I look at the child, my son, pulling the neuroclips from my ears. "Pretty cool, huh, Dad? I can add more monsters in the settings if you want a challenge." I stare blankly at a fixed point in front of me, traumatized and trying to merge and process new and old information. The rush of real-world information causes a fault in my brain. How did I forget all this? As the boy sits down and connects himself to the game, I'm left grappling with the onslaught of reality. "I'm going to try to hit 100 years this time," the child says as he lays down on the couch, popping the Neuralink clips to his ears. As he excitedly prepares for the game to boot up, I am left with the echoes of a life that I lived, yet did not. The lines blur, the surreal touching the tangible. I am caught between two realities, no longer certain of my place in either. It may have been a game, but to me, it was a lifetime of hell.